G'day. This is going to be the first instalment into my how to play Piedmont Blues guitar, and we're going to start at the very basic beginner level. Now, a lot of people I know have a lot of trouble getting the alternating bass going with their thumb and being able to pick out a melody with their index and middle finger. Now, there's nothing saying you don't have to. A lot of people just use the thumb and finger. It's up to personal choice. I don't believe it makes much difference. Personally, I like to use the two fingers. That's for a lot of reasons, which we might get into later on. Some things are just too damn hard to accomplish for me, just using the one finger and the thumb. But a lot of people try to jump straight into getting this alternating bass working, and that is a good way to start. But what I might try to do is, I believe, to try to get some dexterity happening in the thumb first. So by playing a few things where we just use the thumb, a few little riffs, and they're good Piedmont Blues riffs as well, and you'll hear them in a lot of things. So I'll start off in the key of C, just to play some basic little riffs. You should be able to play these if you've been playing guitar for a while and you've practiced some scales. Now, you're going to need to know the major scale, because eventually I'd like to see you practicing the G major and the C major scale and playing using only your thumb all on downstrokes. So for a C major scale, all done with the thumb. It's a good exercise to start off, but we'd like to, because it's Piedmont Blues, we'd like to play a few Piedmont Blues sounding riffs. One of them comes out of Big Bill Brunsey and Blind Lemon Jefferson were like riffs like these. And now it's just a simple riff. We start off on the C, on the bass, on the second fret, on the third fret of the fifth string, and play an open A note, and we drop down to the G here on the bass on the third fret and the sixth string. So I'll do that really slowly. So it's the fifth string, third fret, open A, G on the bass, and the A. Then we walk back up using to the B, the second fret, to C, and then we take our thumb and we play now the D string, and we play chromatically from the open D to the D sharp to the E. Then we jump back down to the C, to open A, to G, to the C bass note, and finish off with a C chord with the high G. I'll have to do a lesson on basic blues chords as well, but at this stage we're just trying to get the thumb to play some riffs all by itself, and you'll need this when you start to play more advanced stuff. Another riff is really nice is a Big Bill Brunsey's rag riff, which he starts off on the G on the bass, and it sounds like this. Okay, now it starts off in the G on the bass on the third fret, open A. Same as before, we're A, B, C, and then two C's. So then the same thing again, D on the D string, fourth string. So they're coming back down like that, we're going playing that E twice, then all the way open down to the third string, and fretting the second fret A, and then onto the second string, playing that high C there, fretted down the first fret. You should be knowing this anyway. But so the sound of the riff is, once you can get this happening nice and fluent, and that is a little hammer on the D to the D sharp. Big bill would then go into what we're trying to achieve here, is that alternating bass with the picking. Okay, so there are two basic little things we can do, plus we can practice an open G scale all the way up to the high G from the bottom E. So we can start off sorry, that's not the G major scale at all. What it is an open E, sorry, all with the thumb. We're not even bringing these other fingers in yet. Okay, and now once you've practiced that plus the C major scale, if you practice this 20 minutes a day, getting these riffs down just with the thumb, they're pretty cool riffs, and they really do get the thumb working as a unit by itself. Okay, now we'll actually go on to the basics of the alternating bass itself. Now for this, the easiest chord to learn in would be a G chord. An open D tuning, playing an open chord, would be even easier, but we're not going to do that. We're going to make it at least play a G chord. And there's quite a few songs where they're just one chord in the key of G, and it's just a G chord thing. Now I will be playing, now that we're holding that chord down, just a G like that, and I want you to play it like that with a little finger on the high G, the second finger on the B there, on the 5th fret, fifth string, 2nd fret, and on the G. Okay, so now that you see that, we can just take that away and we can just show you the right hand. Okay, now without using the fingers to start with, we're playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're trying to make it as rhythmical as we can. It's a bit like boom chick on a drum kit. So we're going. Now, to get a feel, we must have an accent, a stronger accent on the 2nd and 4th beats. So this one's not quite so heavy, and this one is hard enough so that we can hear the other strings ringing in sympathy. So, later on in Piedmont Blues, you'll find it quite necessary to not just play the bass notes there, but when you play the 2 and the 4th beats, to really brush down a lot. So it's a 6 string, 4 string, all quarter notes. Comfortable with that, you can miss out on the 1st and 3rd beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that will give you a blues feel. Now all you got to do then is to know how to add in some these two fingers here to make some treble happening at the same time. Now there's only two ways you can do this. You can play the index finger or the middle finger with the bass note at the same time on the beat, and they will be, we're just playing, I'm just using the second finger and playing the high E string there. So you can just practice that for a while and just putting a pinch on every beat. Every now and then. And the other thing is to play in between the beats without the bass, and that would just be a free stroke with one of the two fingers here. Now some people will tell you this finger should only play the high string and this finger should play the two middle strings. But it's not all as simple as that. It's not about playing patterns, it's about being able to play whatever strings needed to play the melody that's required for a particular song or a particular groove. And so sometimes this index finger will be needed to play that high string, and the middle finger will be required to play underneath. You might play index finger, second finger, like that. All depends on the requirements of where you are. You don't want to get stuck into playing patterns. You want to be able to play freely so that you can play whatever melody you like over the top of it, okay? And as I showed before, getting that on the second and fourth beats, we get a nice big chunk going, or boom, chick, boom, chick, boom, chick, getting that rhythm happening. We don't want to play like a straight time. We always want to think about most of these blues songs as in a swing time feel. Okay, so it's got to swing a little bit to sound right. So bring in the back of the pinch strokes on each beat. Practice that, and then practice playing the, but in between the bass. So 1 and 2 and 3 and see what I mean? And then you try to combine them together. Now a good rhythm you can play to start with will be just to play it really slowly. Just a bass by itself, and pinch on the second beat, then on the third beat the bass note, and then play an open G string with your index finger, and then follow it up with a chunk. So all we've got to do now is get once you get more comfortable. Thing I probably should mention to you is that you want to try and mute the bass notes as much as possible and get used to being able to play it with varying degrees of muting. So sometimes you want them to ring, and other times you want to mute them really quiet. To be able to go no muting and then to mute that. And the idea there is to develop a sensitivity, okay? It's to be able to play what sounds good, basically, and that's what we're after. Is Blind Blake, a lot of the time he doesn't do a lot of right hand muting. Does his muting with the left hand. So I find that really hard to do, especially when music is as complex as his. So I cheat. I use the right hand to do most of my muting when I'm trying to play a Blake type of feel. But we're not going to get into Blake for quite a while. So basically, to run through, we did some riffs with the thumb alone and played a couple of scales just using the thumb to get those. And then we've gone through. Okay, as I said before, you might want to mute on the first beat and then completely no muting on the second beat, and then back, so we get every 6-string bass sounds like that, and every 4th-string pops. And that just is a matter of taking this heel of this right hand, which is sitting on the string just in front of the bridge, taking it right off for the second beat, for instance. That way you will develop a freedom of being able to mute when you want to, and to be able to control how much mute you play, from no mute to lots of mute. Okay, you hear a lot of Robert Johnson, and you hear the real deeply muted bass string happening, and it's so muted that you can't even hear the pitch of the string sometimes, of the note. It's really pushing down hard with his right hand to mute that out, and it's just for an effect. It's because he wants a more of a rhythmic effect than a melodic effect, for instance. And but Robert Johnson is not really noted for being a Piedmont Blues player, although he certainly could play Piedmont Blues. There is some elements of Piedmont Blues in their Red Hot song, their Hot Tamales tune, and so that's a basic thing. I don't think there's much need to go through. I'll just go through one more time with the basic pattern here, and don't worry about the left hand. We're holding down a G chord. We're leaving the index finger free to, if we want to play G7, we can just play the G7. So the next lesson, I suppose I'll just keep on with this basic type of thing, with the G and the G7 being held down, and just coming up with a few more patterns and varieties. But as I said, you don't want to get stuck into patterns. The Piedmont Blues is not a pattern picking music. No country blues is, really. There's always breaking of the rules. You'd want to be able to not just be stuck on the 6th and 4th strings when you're playing in G, and not be able to take the thumb down. You know, because later on we shall be practicing riffs and scales, for instance, using the alternating thumb and forefinger method, which would be playing riffs. Okay, so go back, practice that stuff, and I'll try to put together another videos tonight if possible, and come up with a couple more varieties. But remember, the basic pattern will be playing just the bass, and then on the second beat, when we play the 4th string on the bass with the thumb, we pinch the high G note to come out. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and for the 3rd and 4th beats, so after that we go 1, 2, and we play a bass note on itself, and in between that, on the end, just before we go into the 4, and don't make it right in the middle like we're playing solid time. As I said before, we want to be, the closer we can get that to being like a triplet note, the third note of a triplet there, we will get a lot of swing happening to that, get a lot of bounce. And the shuffle and the triplet feel in country blues is very much a swing type feel. You can't shuffle properly without it playing at a bit of swing. So one more time. Do it as slowly as you have to until you got it, and then let's speed it up. Sounds pretty cool. I hear a trainer coming. Okay, Greg Llewellyn signing out. See you again for another lesson very soon. Okay, enjoy this first lesson of Piedmont Blues guitar. Bye.